Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del challenges the status quo, questions everything, and empowers you to return to your core beliefs to make your life better. If you're ready to hear the truth and get your roadmap to the lifestyle you really want, the next hour will change your life. And now, your host, self-made millionaire, national award-winning investor of the year, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, Del Walmsley.
Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. I'm your host, Del Walmsley, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. Today, my friends, we're going to introduce a couple that is on the tour. Now, when I say the tour, of course, you have already figured out I'm talking about the Masters Tour that's coming up here in, I guess it's September 3rd and 4th. We're going to have the Lifestyles Unlimited Masters Tour and Expo, and they're going to be one of the stops we're going to stop with our buses to go see their property. So we wanted to highlight them before we had them on that tour, and they're with us today. We have Cornell and Vivian Williams. Cornell and Vivian, welcome.
Thank you.
Let's start with the fact you guys have been around for a long time now. You've been with us for at least 12 years, and you've done a lot of different deals. So the fact that we're going to get to see some of your perfected process after 12 years is going to be interesting on this road trip. Which property are you going to be showing us?
We're going to be showing the property in Arlington. It's 103 units, and we purchased that in 2019.
Okay, so that's a more recent purchase for you. That's a good one. Has it won any awards yet?
Not yet.
Very good. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about how you guys got into this, just so people have a little insight into who you are. Tell us about your past and how you got started in real estate, because I know you did a little bit before you came here.
Well, this is Cornell. We have a unique story. My wife and I actually met in a small investment group back in Detroit, Michigan, some years ago before we got married. We've been married actually almost 32 years. That's kind of how we got started. We were doing some single-family houses at that particular time. So, we saw the value in real estate. But, later on, we decided we want to get away from the cold weather, came to Texas. And, when we heard about lifestyles, I mean, that was exactly what we needed, to kind of ramp up on our real estate investment.
So you guys came in. You're out of Dallas area, by the way, just for people to know. They're up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they've owned many properties. I remember at least 4 or 5 that I've been aware of. So how many total apartment complexes have you guys purchased so far since you were members here? I know you had one before you came here, didn't you?
Yes. We had a 8-unit in Detroit, which actually Cornell bought the year we got married. And so we have total, with the deals that we've done with Lifestyles, we have 6. We've done 6. And we have the 8-unit that we had prior to joining Lifestyles.
Your story is really interesting, but we have to be careful how we tell it. Yours is a story that you've got into a couple deals with some people, and I don't know if I want to call them unscrupulous or just not very smart, one of the two, but that they just didn't exercise the business prowess that you guys thought should be exercised, that I thought should be exercised, and it sort of led to a situation where you had to come in and save the day on a couple different deals, did you not?
Yeah, it was just the one deal. We had gotten in passively with the gentleman, and we had also at that time purchased a property very shortly after he had purchased this deal in Arlington. We purchased one in Dallas, and they were kind of similar. They were both, foreclosures. They were distressed, so there had to be a heavy lift to try to get these things to turn around. So while we were turning around the property in Oaklawn in the Dallas area, he was tackling the one in Arlington, and so we kind of finished our rehab and got the property turned around, and then, some of the partners kind of looked at us and said, hey, what's going on with this other deal we're in, so we started to pay more attention, at that point and realized that, well, this deal's not going in the right direction.
And as you would say, Dale, unfortunately, he was not following the lifestyle roadmap that had been presented to him.
Yeah, it was interesting because when I went out there, I saw it, and I was like, man, what is this guy doing? also I realized at the time that the property had great upside potential. In other words, it wasn't a bad purchase. It was just a bad operational situation. And you guys ended up taking it over, did you not?
That is correct. Right. We ended up taking it over, and we actually got it turned around and made a property that was actually unprofitable, turned it into a profitable property.
And I would like to add that when we took this property over, he had mismanaged it so bad there was no money in the bank. Taxes were due. Insurance had lapsed. It was pretty bad. So we came into a pretty rough situation and just, followed the model, put the work into it, and was able to turn it around in about less than 18 months. So about a year, actually. And so that's kind of how we made a name for ourselves within Lifestyles, because that was a pretty tough deal.
Well, it brought you to my attention and really made me see you guys for something special. I've often wondered in many people's situations when they get behind the eight ball that far, like when you took this property over, is you look at people and say, why does it break some people? In other words, somebody else could have been in your exact same situation and gone, man, that's it, I'm done. I'm giving up. I'll never do real estate again. But you guys just took it in stride, worked hard, no doubt, had a lot of issues you had to overcome to get this thing turned around. But you not only did it and overcame it, but then you were still excited about doing more and buying another property.
We realized real estate is a great investment. It just needs the right care. It wasn't, like you said, it wasn't a matter of the property being bad. It was the operations, and Lifestyle Strengths is really helping us to learn, how to run these properties. If you follow it, it really works. So we knew that the model worked. It's just you just have to work it correctly.
So how did you pull that one out? The reason I'm asking these questions about this one, which was challenging, is that, people always ask me all the time, I've been doing this for 30 years now, they go, why don't you ever talk about one that was difficult? You always make it sound so easy. So let's talk about one. What did you have to do when you took over a mess with no money in the bank? How did you pull that thing out, guys?
Well, unfortunately, we, as you said, we had no money in the bank, so we had to get all the members together, and we had to do a cash call, to raise some money for some operational money. And once we raised the money, and we started tackling the issues, the taxes, the rehab,
and the tenant base.
Right.
So that was a major thing. You have to put the right residents, in the property. You have to screen them properly. You have to make sure they make the income, make sure they can pay the rent. And so that was a big deal. He did a lot of rehab, and then really basically through the same type of people in the apartment. And you have a nice rehab department, and you have people in there who may not appreciate that. So we had to come in and pretty much turn the tenant base. In other words, when people's leases were up or if they weren't paying their rent, we had to get rid of them and put in people who would pay the rent and who appreciated all the work that was put into the property. And then, of course, managing the financial end of it as well, making sure that the bills are paid. And it starts to fall into place. Once you get the right residents in there, the money starts to flow easier, and it just kind of falls into place. It's not easy, but it does fall into place if you follow the model. Make sure you've got the right residents and that you're financially following and making sure everything's getting paid on time, et cetera, et cetera. So,
gotcha. Right things, right operations, right results. We'll be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Now, from the files of Del Walmsley.
The way society wants this to work is you're going to go and get good grades so you can get into a good college, so you can get good grades there, so you can get out and get into a master's program or a doctoral program, and or then get out and get a good job. 25, 26, 27 years of your life to go through the system. During that entire time, you will do exactly what the system tells you to do. You will sit where you're told to sit, be quiet, shut up, and don't think outside of the box. School was designed to create dependent people to work in America. And so they put you in school and they sit you in a chair and they tell you to shut up and be quiet. I got so many problems when I was a kid because I wouldn't shut up, because I wanted to talk. I wanted to communicate. But they don't want you to communicate. They don't want you to get educated. They don't want you to learn. They don't want you to grow. They want you to just conform. I remember when I was in kindergarten, I got my first report card. I ran home to Mom as fast as I could. I said, Mother, I'm famous already. I'm only in kindergarten. I'm already famous. My mother opened the report card in the bottom where there was a place where the teacher could write something. The teacher wrote, "Your son is infamous for talking out in class." And my mother had to explain to me what infamous meant compared to famous. I'm infamous for talking out against the discipline that makes you believe that you need to be dependent the rest of your life. We'll be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. With me here today is Vivian and Cornell Williams. They're going to be showing their property off on the 2021 Lifestyles Unlimited Expo and Tour. We've got 2 days going on here, September 3rd, September 4th, up in Dallas. And actually, it's Irving, Texas. And, one full day is driving around and looking at actual apartment complexes that are successful and that you can see what they've done, how they bought them, what they did to them, what they did to turn them around. Now, as we were going to break here, we were talking about a unique situation with Cornell and Vivian, that they got into a deal with somebody and the person was really pretty poor at operating the property, and eventually the property was broke, and they elected to, or their partners elected them to take over the property, and they did a cash call, which is not something that happens very often, very infrequently, but it did this time, and it saved the day. And they turned it around. And Vivian and Cornell, as we went to break, I was thinking of a term here, and I'll see if I'm right, because it's 10 years ago, and my memory, isn't what it used to be. The individual that was running the thing, was he not a construction guy? And was it not the only thing he knew, and that's what he was doing, spending all the money doing rehabs and construction?
Yeah, that's right. That was supposed to be his strong suit. So he spent every dime on the rehab and didn't really know, what to do with the operational side of the property. So
there's a saying, Vivian, I've used 1,000 times in my 30 years of teaching, and that is, if you're born with a hammer in your hand, everything in life looks like a nail. And
Okay.
That was pretty much his operational style right there. So you got out of that deal. That one turned around, and you made some money with them, actually. So you turned that one around. You got into another property. What was do you think, of all the properties you've done so far? You've got a 180 unit, 256 unit. You're now in a 103 unit. You did a 70 unit, a 40 unit. I mean, it's almost like you guys grew up like I did. Like, let's do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You did 40, 70, 180, 256. Now back down to 103 are you doing this just like a joke? Is this babysitting?
Well, not really. We just, let's just say we were moving up, trying to do more units, because what we found was the smaller ones tend to take just as much heavy lifting as the bigger ones. And so we wanted to move up not only in number of units, but also in the class of the property. So we started to buy newer properties. And then when this last one came along, we really weren't looking for a property that size. But as you can see, we had two other properties in Arlington, and this one was not even a mile from those. And so we really, really knew the market. It just kind of fit at the time. So that's why we ended up with that one.
Excellent. So do you still have the other two in Arlington? You have three now in Arlington?
No, those were sold. Like the one you were talking about, the 70 unit that we took over, that one was sold, I believe, in 2017. And then we bought the 180 unit. We bought that one in 2015, sold that one in 2018. And so right now what we have is the Waco property, which is 256 units, and then the Arlington one that's on the tour at 103 units.
So as you guys have progressed through this, tell us, if you can, share with us, from both sides, husband and wife, what has this meant to you as a family? I mean, you both had good jobs before. You stepped out of corporate America to do this. What has this meant to your family?
Well, this has really, really meant a lot to our family. I mean, we've become, as they say, financially free. We can make our own schedule. Things are flexible. We actually just got back into town from taking a little vacation. My wife and I, we took a little vacation trip, so we're flexible enough to travel. We're flexible enough, to spend time with our kids. And it has, as I said, it has really changed our lifestyle.
And not only that, the legacy, people talk about legacy for their children. This is an awesome legacy. Our kids are 28 and 32, and if I had the knowledge or my parents had the knowledge that we have at their age, I can't imagine where we would be today with learning a model of real estate like we've developed and like lifestyles developed at such a young age. And so it took them a while, but now they're starting to see, wow, this could be very good, a very good lifestyle for us. So that's really what is really keeping us going is trying to help them, develop that skill set so that they can be way further ahead than we are at our age, with their age, with them being so young. They're starting really young with this, so sky's the limit for them.
No doubt if they get started in their early 30s, it's going to be quite the boon for them by the time they get elderly or middle age even, really, for that matter. So let's talk about the new property you're going to show off to people. It's 103 units. What year built was it?
This property was built in 1983. Yes, it's a newer property. Well, compared to the others, it's a newer property. And the unique thing about this property is, as Vivian said, we're familiar with the Arlington area, so it's in the Arlington area. And the other unique thing was it was a property that the owner had for a while, and as the real estate brokers would say, it was untouched. I mean, he had not done anything, just ran it. He had not put anything in it. So we saw this as an opportunity to start from ground up to renovate it the way we wanted to. The other properties that we had, they were in various stages of renovation where the prior owner had started to renovate with their model, and they weren't all necessarily the same. Like they might have different light fixtures from one property to the other on different flooring. We saw this as the opportunity to make everything the same, and that is really what we have been doing with this property.
Interesting. So what kinds of things did you want to work on? We've got about a minute and a half left in this segment, so I'm going to cut you off in the middle of this conversation, but bring it back. So if you just want to start with some big stuff, what is the stuff that you saw that was very opportunistic for you to change?
Well, like you said, the units hadn't been touched, so this is in a B-class area, so we saw the opportunity to upgrade it and raise the rent. And in upgrading it, also keep the maintenance to a very low level. So we put in quartz countertops, so we wouldn't have to go in and resurface. We put in new tubs, so we wouldn't have to go in and resurface.
That's great. We'll come back and we'll pick it back up at the quartz tops.
Now more intel from the files of Del Walmsley.
I see it over and over and over again. Almost everybody I run into that's in the dependent mode world who gets what I'm talking about. And that's what I mean by esoteric. Esoteric information only a few people that have the understanding, the insight to understand it can really get anything from it. So the first time I really figured this out was when I went to work for this finance company, and there was this 65-year-old man that just sat there and smoked cigarettes all day, did nothing, but had all these young kids working for him. They had a 6-year training program that you could become a manager, and had all these videotapes and things to learn from. And I took the course, and because I'm single, broke, living at home by myself with nothing to do, I got through this 6-year course in 6 months or whatever it was, passed all the tests. I said, okay, I'm ready to become a manager. The guy goes, you're not going to be a manager. You're just a young kid. That's not for you. You're going to have to pay your dues. And there it was. The ladder concept, guys. You can't go up that ladder. There's people in front of you. Come right back with Del Walmsley Radio Show. We'll be right back.
Welcome Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today we are celebrating the fact that we're going to have our Lifestyles Unlimited Expo and Masters Tour coming up here in September this year in Irving, Texas, which is basically Dallas-Fort Worth area. And with us today is Cornell and Vivian Williams, who are going to be one of the people that are going to share their properties with us on the tour. If you're wanting to get involved in this, and I would suggest this to you, every year I warn people this sells out early. And the reason is there's only so many buses we can take and only so many people we can take on each tour because we got to get them in and out of 8 different properties, and there's only so much time in a day to do that. So if you want to be a part of this, you want to see these properties, you want to get registered as soon as possible, you're going to look us up at Lifestyles Unlimited 2021 Expo or Lifestyles Unlimited Expo 2021, I think is the way I found it. And just get yourself registered. You can register online. There's many different ways to register. They've got combinations of things. You can sign up for the tour. You can sign up for the expo. You can sign up for the expo and the tour, etc. But you want to definitely get there. So as we get you excited about coming, we're going to go back with Vivian and Cornell. Now, Vivian was talking about the stuff that they have, that they found on the property they're going to be showing us that they really thought was great opportunities. As we went to break, she was explaining to us that one of the things was the ability to turn all the units into the same product, which is something they've wanted to do across multiple different projects they've done, but they've inherited different things that were at different positions along the line of rehabbing. So they, you got a little of that, a little of this, and someone left over that and do something new there. And it never really gave them the opportunity to do what they want to do now. So now they're completely turning it around. And Vivian, I'm turning it back over to you. You found one of the things was you wanted to upgrade the countertops. Take it from there.
Right. So we looked at, everything in the apartment because they hadn't been touched, basically. So flooring, countertops, we did, new faucets, new appliances, new light fixtures. We even did new ACs. We did new windows because this model for this apartment was to keep it long term, so 5+ years. So we were able to totally turn the property around from inside and out. We did exterior painting. We even put some stone on the outside, of the office complex. We did resurfaced the pool, the decking. I mean, we touched everything except the roofs. He had done the roofs in the past 5 years, I think, so we did everything except the roof. So now we've got almost a brand-new property. It's like having an A-class because everything's new. So our maintenance guy is going to be a little bored the next few years because hopefully there won't be much, maintenance to do on the property. So that was the model when we looked at it. It's like, here's the opportunity for us to do it our way. And with me being an interior designer, this was my forte. So
if you're born with an interior designer as a wife, everything needs me remodeling.
Right.
And getting her to do it in the apartment, Dale, was a way for me to get her to spend less money in the house.
Boy, gosh, I can relate to that. I'm telling you. Man, that's so relatable it hurts.
Right.
And we had learned, from our prior properties also, the areas to touch, to minimize the maintenance. Like she said, we've learned from our prior properties, as you know, with old countertops, you're resurfacing when you turn the property. You're resurfacing the tubs, or you're changing carpet. So we're going in with countertops, we won't have to resurface. New tubs, we won't have to resurface. And also flooring. We have no carpet. It's all vinyl flooring. So, we can actually do an apartment turn, in a half a day.
Yeah, that makes a difference. For folks out there that don't understand this, the value of an apartment complex is its net operating income, which is income minus expenses. That net operating income times some variable. So the reality is that what they're talking about here is if you eliminate reoccurring expenses, you are drastically reducing the cost of operations. In fact, not only are they reducing the reoccurring expenses, like the make-ready expenses, like replacing the carpet every time somebody moves out or resurfacing the counters as Cornell's bringing up. But you've also got things like when you replace all the air conditioners, you now don't have to keep fixing air conditioners every day, and you don't have to keep fixing plumbing problems every day. That stuff adds up, and that lowers the operating cost. So when you lower the operating cost, that's going to increase the profit of the property, or what we call the net operating income. Now let's go the other direction. That is, it should also increase your ability to earn more rental income. Did you increase the rents with all this new stuff?
Absolutely. So on an average, the rents were increased from anywhere from $100 to $150 more than what they were getting when we purchased the property. So not only were the expenses driven down, but the income was driven up as well, which really accelerated the value of the property very quickly.
So let's just play a game real quick for people listening here. I'm going to leave out how much you've decreased the expenses side of the issue because I can't calculate that. But I can take a $150 rent increase and give you some idea what that means to the value increase of that unit. When you purchased these, what cap rate did you buy this property at? Do you remember?
I was about 6.5%, maybe 7%, in between 6.5% and 7%.
Okay, and you say you went up between 100 and 150, so I'm going to just take an average of 125. 125 times 12 months, that's $1,500 increase per year. And not taking any effect for the lowering of expenses, just the increase in income of $1,500. I'm divide that by, you said 6 cap rate? What was it?
Yeah, about 6.5.
6.5 cap rate. So the 6.5 cap rate, that is $23,000 per unit. I just did it on one unit. Per unit in increased value. What did you pay per unit when you bought them?
We paid about $66,000 per unit.
Right.
So you've got a 30% increase in value on that property with what you've done, and that's an easy low estimate. Now,
right.
Normally when you put down payments on something like this, you put 25 to 30% down. So I'm assuming you're somewhere in that range, 25 to 30% down. And if you've got a 30% increase, we're talking about 100% return on capital gains on your investment in 2 years. Does those numbers make sense? Anywhere clear or anywhere near sense?
Right. That's right.
100% capital gain in 2 years is an excellent situation. How about cash flow for your partners? Are you guys paying any cash flow out to your partners?
Well, we just refinanced the property in March. So this quarter will be the first distribution, and it'll be somewhere in the 9% range.
Wow.
So, yeah, even after refinancing and pulling out cash from the property, they're still going to be able to get about a 9% return on investment.
So sell me some of that, guys. Sell me some bonds and pay me 9% interest and then double in value in 2 years.
Right.
Woo, that's some good stuff.
Right.
So we're looking at a situation here where you've been at this for about 2 years. Have you completed all the renovation yet?
We actually just finished our last unit, and we're jumping for joy about that. We finished our last unit of the 103.
Sounds like vacation time to me.
Really?
Right. It's been a long time.
It's been a while, because actually doing the renovation, we containers with suppliers. We had actually 3 storage boxes at the back of our property. We got rid of the last one about a week ago, so we no longer have storage containers on our property.
Excellent. So we're going to take a short break here in just a minute. When we come back, I want you to share with us what we're going to get to see for those of us that are going to be on the tour. And I'm definitely going to be on the tour. I'm going to be there, so I'm going to want to know what we're going to see. So you can figure that all out when we come back from break. And for the rest of you out there, think about this. This family retired themselves. They both had good corporate America jobs. They retired both of themselves. They've got their kids involved. They've given them a opportunity to see the future for their children, so it's a legacy opportunity. And they're now out here sharing and giving back to the rest of the world their story. And you have to think about how positive that is. And when we get back, one of the other things we're going to talk about is how does that make you feel when you go in there and change everybody's life at that property.
Now intel from the files of Del Walmsley.
When you own your own business, it may not be big, but it is flexible. time-wise. It is flexible growth-wise. And I remember when I started my business, it only took me like 10 houses to replace my total income. I was only making $3,500 a month take-home pay. Real estate investing, when done correctly, is tax-free, so I only needed to make $3,500 of take-home pay. And once I had that, then I had the choice to be able to leave my corporate America job, which I did. And even though I had done that, I still realized I want to make more money, just like when I was on the corporate America ladder. Now we're in column number 2. We are on the independent ladder. But the beauty of the ladder is that there's nobody else on the ladder. There's 100 ladders next to you of people doing the same thing. We're all trying to buy real estate, right? All these people they're all on this ladder, and you look at it and go, hi, Bob. Hi, Sue. How you doing, Bob? It's great. How many houses you bought this week? I bought 1 more. How about you? I bought 2 more. Did it bother me that you bought 2 more? It didn't bother me at all. Because there's nobody on top of me on my ladder now, guys. And there was no one there to say, you can't have 10 more houses. You'll be beating me. We'll take a short break, be right back with Vivian and Cornell Williams and the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today with us we have Cornell and Vivian Williams, who are going to be showing off their property at the Lifestyles Unlimited Wealth and Passive Income EXPO and Multifamily Tour coming up September 3rd and 4th in Irving, Texas. Their property is one of 8 that's going to be on display, and they're going to let us come in and see their property, and we're going to ask them right now, guys, what are we going to get to see? What all do you have in store for us as we look at your property?
Well, you're going to get to see a property. Unfortunately, you won't get to see the before, but you will get to see the after. The after we've done the heavy lifting, we've actually put in all new windows on the property. So, there's a real good first impression. We have the complete exterior painting and the office. Oh, the office, you're really going to love the office, because before the office was like maybe a little 10 by 10 room. We've taken the room adjacent to it and made it a B-class office, actually. We also have a fitness center where the property, it had a large, huge laundry room. We took some of that space and put in a fitness area in there. And when you see the unit, it's really going to light up your eyes, because you're going to walk in and you're going to see the new floor, and you're going to see new light fixtures, you're going to see new faucet, you're going to see new black appliances, and the countertops, of course, the countertops. So you're going to really see like a property that was actually verging on like a C- to a B property.
Okay.
And we also did quite a bit of concrete work in the parking lot as well, so it's a pretty clean property now.
Do you have any of the beforehand pictures of it?
Yes.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, you will get to see it. Actually, we'll have a video showing the before pictures, so you can really appreciate the difference.
Yeah, I always love to see those before and after pictures. Those are great.
Right.
Now, do you have any of the same clientele that was there when you took over, or has it totally turned over?
Very few.
Right.
We have a few of them, where we would say, some of the good fruit in the pot, we kept those. But I would say probably 90% of them are new.
Right. We increased the criteria, so the income level has to be 3 times the rent, whereas before they were doing two times the rent.
Wow.
So, and then there's the credit scores have to be higher and all that. So that's how we have been able to get better residents than were there before.
And when you drive through the parking lot, even the parking lot, you can kind of tell the difference. Before, when you drove through the parking lot, you might see, a car broken down, flat tires and everything. Now you really see nice cars, really nice cars throughout the property.
Were there any comments from the people as you started doing this work, from the people living there, your residents?
Oh, yes. We've changed the clientele, so, of course, the property is much quieter. So a lot of people have noticed that. It's quieter. They've got, the people that we kept, of course, they had to transfer to new units. So, yes, the rent was higher, but they were willing to pay that to get, a nicer apartment. So Yeah, we've gotten lots of comments, even from the neighbors. So the neighbors in the neighborhood have come over and said, thank you so much, because now we don't have people coming in, breaking in our houses, and it just upgraded the neighborhood, and even some of the neighbors started to upgrade their homes. So it's had an impact on the whole neighborhood, which is why we do this. It's very rewarding to see that we're able to take something that was broken down, an eyesore, and make it nice, and the residents and the neighbors are happy to see the turnaround. That's
excellent. I was going to ask you how you felt about it, but I think you've answered the question. You're proud of it.
Right. It's been, I mean, of course we do this for the money, we do it for the financial freedom, but it really has been very rewarding throughout the years. That's why we keep doing this, because you just get such a great sense of satisfaction from being able to improve people's lives and give them a clean, safe place to live. So it's been great.
It's such a rewarding feeling when people come through there, especially like the inspectors. Sometimes, policemen would drive through and say, is this the same place? I said, wow, you guys have really changed it over. I mean, even they can tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good.
It's been great.
No doubt. That does make you feel good. That's really what I was looking for right there, was those kinds of feelings, because it's always been that way with me. Whenever you can touch other people's lives, and you think about taking on a 256-unit apartment complex and 103 units, you've got 350 families. That is their home. It's their residence. It's where they live. It's their Christmas and their Easter and their birthdays and everything else in their life, and you have framed it for them. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, it certainly does. It does. We've had a son come into the office and say, thank you so much for providing a safe, clean place for my mom to live. Now I feel so much comfortable with her being here.
Wow.
So it's been great.
Those are all great. Well, we've only got just 1 minute left here. Is there anything else you guys would like to say to people about your property and what they're going to see when you come out there?
Just that I can't wait for them to see the before, to see, I mean, we've had units that had hoarders in it, and it was just horrible. And we took that unit and made it the model. So they're going to see, a big turnaround, a big change, and a change for the whole neighborhood. So I think it's going to be an interesting tour. I would encourage anybody to get their tickets to this as soon as possible so it doesn't sell out before they're able to get their tickets, because it's going to be an eye-opening experience for them.
I totally agree. You got to get those tickets, guys. It does sell out every single year. I promise you. I'm not making that up. That's not hype. It's just a reality, because this is such a neat thing, and it does every year fill up. So, guys, thanks a lot for letting us, number one, have your place to look at, and number two, for coming on the show here today and sharing the time. And the rest of you out there, remember this. Vivian, Cornell, and I, we don't do it for some money. We do it for a lifestyle. Have a wonderful day.
Now, intel from the files of Del Walmsley.
If you have any belief that you got there by yourself, you're crazy. We all got there with help from other people, mentoring us the whole way through the whole process. And when you get to that point, you got to look back and say, hey, it's my turn. I talked to a guy the other day on Tell Del. He said the same thing. He was like Brian was saying, my goal is to get to the point where I don't work in my business anymore at all. And he says that I'd like to, help some other people. I said, so what you're saying is you want to come be a consultant? He goes, wow, I guess I do. So there it was. Full circle. I always know a person is ready to retire when they're ready to mentor. If you are in a situation where you're still struggling on your business that you don't have the time to mentor, then you're still in your business. Very true. Listen to that again. I'll say it one more time. If you're still working in your business to the degree that you don't have time to mentor other people, then you're not 100% successful. You're still in an independent state and not ready to move into interdependency, which is the most mature level of all of this.
The information and opinions you hear on the Del Walmsley radio show are those of the host, Del Walmsley, his guests, and his callers, and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this station, its affiliates, its management, or advertisers. The Del Walmsley show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Del Walmsley show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.